the thing that I always do, which is check the old YouTube to see if we're actually live. But
See if
I'm
we're
pretty
really
sure we are.
there.
Yeah.
It says live.
It says live, so I believe it. Trust in the internet universe, but
Trust
not
the
always.
technology.
Yeah. So Jen, how are you? Because I do think we're live, but so let's pretend that we are.
Yeah, I think so. I'm good. I am, not writing very much these days, which is a bummer. But I'm super glad that we still have this. Yay! There we go. So I'm excited to be doing this. I think I need to get out of my head, get some stuff on the page, be moving in that direction. How are you?
Yeah. Good, good. I also feel you. So are you not writing as much just because of the festival and like the day job work? Like you're doing a lot of writing for the job.
Yes. So I think that, and I think just like personal stuff. I think I'm having a hard time sort of, doing anything more than I'm already needing to do every day. I'm
Yeah.
also I'm working on a different kind of creative project right now, which I'm actually really, really excited about, and it's been going really well. So I think that my writing time's been kind of falling into that. But I need to get back in it because I was doing a really good job this summer. I have a couple like little pieces that I want to work on, and I think just looking at it, you do a really good job of like doing like bite-sized chunks. So I'm like, even if I just spent like 15 minutes a day just like messing around with it, I think it would make me feel better.
Yeah. Mm. But I just like follow up. I think it's interesting. Like if you have like and only enough energy left after your day and after all your like obligations, and you have another creative project, you're still writing within this project.
That's true.
Like I think we have this compartmentalization, that was hard to say, of like, well, it's not the writing how I used to do it, so it doesn't count as writing. But it is. Like you're just doing something new. Yeah. I think I'm projecting. Sometimes I do that to myself. It's like, well, I'm not writing stand-up, so I'm not technically writing. Or I'm not writing this, so it's not writing. It's like writing is writing is writing.
It's like making these weird rules. I guess maybe you do that because when you work like on your own and you're sort of your own boss, it's like you do kind of have to make rules and guidelines, otherwise you would get nothing done. But then sometimes the rules kind of work against you because they just start to get bizarre, like well, this doesn't count as creative, or this doesn't count as this, and you can do this, but you have to, so then you end up doing more than you can handle at the time because you feel like you also have to be shoving things in.
Yeah, I think trying to like and I know it's like Labor Day today here in the United States of America. And so it's like Labor Day, there's also this mentality of work going on, I think, in my head right now of like, how can I make work once again more playful? Like if I actually do better, not just with writing, but with anything, when I can like bring joy to work. And sometimes it's hard when it feels like a slog, or when it feels like a draft, or when it feels like an edit. So like reframing it of like, okay, this is a creative project I like. How can I bring more writing to this and still like satisfy that element? I don't know. I think maybe that's just tricking yourself, because I agree. You also have to have deadlines and goals and all that stuff. But sometimes I get so fixated on the work that I take away all the joy.
Oh yeah.
And that's no fun either.
And this is kind of what I think doing these write-ins have been helping me, where I'm like, I'm still writing at least once a week, sometimes, maybe more. And it's like, maybe the writing is right now a tool for other creative projects, to free the mind up, to get your mind, moving and stuff like that. It doesn't always have to be a means to an end to a specific thing that's going to get published, that might turn into money, that might turn into work,
Yeah. And I think too, the farther you get along, I think that this becomes a challenge for people. It's like there's expectations, whether they're financial or whether they're professionally based, there's expectations now, instead of this, like this freedom is like opening up of your mind of doing the creative work without that goal. Like, I think there has to be a balance. That's all. And right now I'm in like full like day job mode, since I'm not really doing comedy. So it's like I'm in day job mode, and then I'm like joyful mode. So I'm kind of actually going back into how I started, which is probably why this is on like top of mind. I'm like, oh yeah, this is fun again. Like all the stuff that we're writing, I'm like, this is just fun. I have no plan for what is going to happen. And I don't think you can live there forever, but like right now, who cares? Like, let's do it. Yeah.
I agree. And I think it's so needed right now too, because people are just, we're sort of living in this really long, never-ending trauma.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
Anyone else?
The never-ending trauma.
The trauma. I feel like I'm really starting to look like trauma. My hair is like trauma.
Yeah. But I think you're right.
A
Like
little
moments.
wild.
Yeah. Yeah. Just some hardcore fascism. Let's not talk about it. But like, not your hair. That's not what I'm calling your hair, by the way. This new hairstyle called fascism. No, I'm like the state in which we live. But I'm just saying, like, you know, sometimes just focus on the joy. And for
Yeah.
me, that's the writing. And even like today, we didn't like publicize this. We're like, it's Labor Day. Will anybody show up? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
cares? Like it's out on the internet. Someone will find it who needs it. We need it.
Yeah.
And that is enough.
Exactly.
And that is enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay! Yes. All right. So we're gonna do the same action we do all the time. You're gonna tell everybody what the heck a writing prompt is, and then we have a theme. We have a 5, 10, and 15 minutes. I'm gonna be in charge of the timer and really practice on getting it this
You
time.
do it. I believe in you. I
Thank you
feel
so
like
much.
it's gonna happen. All right. So super quick, we are gonna do 3 writing prompts tonight that we will give to you. We're gonna do a 5-minute, a 10-minute, and a 15. We're gonna time them. The writing prompts, take them any way you'd like it. You can throw them away. You can use a partial. You can do, fiction, nonfiction, whatever you want to do. And we encourage you guys to free write. So just keep your pen moving without thinking about it, or keep typing and just kind of, just let your mind free up and see what happens. Yay.
Love it. Love it. Love it. That was great. Free your mind.
Free
Is
your
what
mind.
I heard. Yeah. Little
Free
en vogue for you. So what's this 5-minute bad boy?
So the first one, here's our first prompt for the night. Yeah, this is our 5-minute one. Our theme is hobbies, which is interesting because we were just talking about, work versus hobbies. So our first prompt is, there we go. What was your favorite hobby as a child?
Yes. And these will all be in the description box below as well, in case you jump in later. So you can just check them out there. On your marks, get set. Right. Is this sharing?
I don't see it.
I psyched myself up too much.
We got too excited.
Sharing screen. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Maybe you just get extra writing time is the real thing. All right. So let's. I'll just reset it. Oh, hey. Now let's do it.
And go.
Jeez, oh, Pete's. Okay. There we go. I think we are back and better than ever. Oh, Jen got kicked out this whole time. I was so deep in writing. I'm so sorry. I think you're muted.
There we go. Yeah. It just did it for a minute, and then I was
Oh,
back on
okay.
it. So
I just come back to writing. You're just sitting there waving. I'm like, oh no, oh no, how sad. Also, everyone, Ursula's here. Heck
I'm so
yeah.
glad you made it, Ursula.
Ursula.
Ursula. We
Go
hang out
ahead,
on
Jen.
Twitter sometimes.
Yeah. So Ursula, we just did our 5 minutes, so you did not miss much. Maybe you came when Jen was kicked out, but she's back.
I was collecting people when I was gone. That's what I was doing.
I know. You're like, Ursula, where are you?
Like, you guys, come on! It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite hobby as a child? Now, Jen, did you write this as a character, or did you write this as a personal thing?
I did it as a personal thing. I've been tending to do that with the 5 minute ones. I've just been kind of doing stuff like, my own self, maybe just to unclog my brain a little bit. But yeah, so I just did it for myself. I said it was reading was mostly like my big hobby, and talking to myself. That was my super big hobby. If I'm being for reals, that was the real hobby.
Yeah, funny. That was a similar list to what I had. I was like, I used to trace a lot. I used to get Simpsons books and like trace, and then reading. I used to break rocks. That was the
Break
thing.
rocks.
I
I
used to
love
break
it.
rocks.
With a hammer.
I would like
Like
smash
smash
rocks and
them.
other rocks because I thought there was always going to be like crystals
Gold.
inside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my kids do that. Yeah,
I thought there'd be
makes
like
sense.
treasure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would talk to my stuffed toys a lot. I would like line them up and be like, this is what you need to hear today, and like tell them things.
At least you had another object that you're talking to. I was just straight up speaking to myself, like just
Yeah.
nothing
To
but
nothing.
air.
Well, I love this about like the 5 minute and like the list and sort of like getting our brains in order because it does like spark something else. So when I make this list or these lists are out, I also find something like I find this duality of me as a kid where I'm like doing these very like sort of introverted or almost like quiet introspective things like I would read, but I was also always climbing things and like jumping off of things, you know? Oh, you've turned into a robot, Jen. I just assume that means when you're frozen that you think I'm the best kid. That's what I'm going to take by that. Ursula, don't fight me on it. So if Jen is stuck, we'll make sure that she comes back. And if anybody else who's watching this later on, what are the dualities that you notice when you're writing either as yourself or a character? I just always find that those are kind of interesting. So for me, I was finding that I was like a bit of a daredevil and yet also reading and being sort of quiet by myself. Sometimes at the same time, I would usually like climb a tree and read a book. I think I've talked about this on the channel before. Was like, yeah. So anyway, I think it's interesting to find those dualities just because I do think they hash out your character a bit as well. So Jen's out for the moment, but that's okay. We're going to keep moving on. We're going to move on to our next prompt. Again, all these prompts are always in the description box below. So in case you are ever wondering, this is a 10-minute prompt that we're going to do. And it's your character is forced to give up their lifelong hobby. What happens next? So your character or yourself, depending on what you're writing, is forced to give up their lifelong hobby. What happens next? I'm going to share the screen and then go check in on Jen as well. So let's get this Google timer rocking and rolling here. Sharing screen, sharing screen. Now I have to sing to share the screen. So 10 minutes on your marks, get set, right. Okay. We did it, and Jen is back, and that is
Back
miraculous. I
again. So
know. Oh,
sad. So I should probably have mentioned before, we are having a storm right now.
oh,
It's like thundering out and stuff like that. So that's probably what's causing some issues.
gotcha.
But it keeps kicking me off and letting me back on. So
I
hopefully
hopefully we
we
can
can
make it.
make
I
it.
enjoy the tension though. Every time I look back, I'm like, is Jen here? I don't even know what's happening.
This year? What
Yeah. Well,
happened?
speaking of
I
that,
know.
we've got new folks. We've got Alice, which is here. We got the one and only
Hi.
Alley Cat as well. So
Alley
thanks for
Cat.
showing up. Yeah, we didn't really super promote this because obviously it's Labor Day here in the U.S. We didn't know if people were like, I'm not interested in writing, so we just kind of snuck it in. So
Yep.
thanks for showing up. So we're on prompt number 2, the 10-minute prompt, and
Yeah.
yeah, what did you find? Were you able to write at all, or were you kind of in the
Yeah.
world of technology?
I
Okay,
got here, it was like only 9 minutes.
okay.
So just like a minute had passed. But I just jumped right in because I was sort of like, oh, running a little late. So I didn't even think about it, which is good. So basically, it just had like a girl like drop her trumpet on the kitchen floor. And so it's
As
like,
you do.
as you do. I've never played trumpet. But she gets into it. So the story basically is her mom, she has to quit band, which is very important to her. Her mom will no longer drive her because her mom has her Wednesday night meetings and they conflict. And she's like, I don't know what to tell you. This is what I'm doing. And then apparently her mom's in a cult. So
Well, the plot thickens.
she's like, listen, I can't drive you now. I have to do this.
Do you find that like you didn't, like you said, you didn't really overthink the story, you kind of jumped in, and you
Yeah.
feel like drumming the trumpet on the kitchen floor was like the action you need, and then you just kind of took it wherever?
Absolutely. So then it was kind of like, what kind of floor is it? It's like this really like expensive stone floor. And then she talks about how her mom like demanded this floor and she doesn't like it. And, it just kind of goes on and on from there. So yeah,
Yeah, well,
it was fun.
with that cult money, you got to get that
I
nice
know,
flooring.
right? Right. So that money's not going to be around for much longer.
Oh no. Well, that's great. So would you foresee this as something like a YA kind of story or just like a short story of fun? Like you're not
I
even.
think it was
Yeah.
just for fun. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know, but I do like the cult part. It's like a beauty, one of those sort of beauty, places where they sell cosmetics and things like that. I've been playing around with that idea for quite a while. I like the idea of, you know, something, with like beauty treatments, Botoxy type things, like turning into something sort of serious and possibly deadly. I don't know.
Mhm.
That's like
Yeah.
it's just interesting to me.
Sort of like that Hunger Games-esque
Yeah.
feel of like yeah, of like taking out a reality TV show or that next thing and taking it up to the scary level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So what you're
anyway,
talking about is Mary Kay. Cool, cool, cool.
Mary Kay just going way down, yeah, exactly.
Mary Kay, but murder. Yeah.
Good stuff. What about
Yeah.
you?
This one got a little personal, and I don't like the thing that I would like to talk about is like I actually remembered some imagery that I think will probably be helpful in other stories. I don't know exactly if I'll pull from this because I've written about this kind of thing before, where like what I've learned from when hobbies or lifelong hobbies, what happens next, it's about like how you pivot,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like I started, of course, with what's relevant with me now is like comedy is over. Like, what do you do? And I'm like, okay, well, how did I experience this before? And I like injured myself in high school sports. And that actually made me pivot to get into theater, which then I found something else that I loved. So like the positivity of when you have to like grieve something, what happens. And this idea of like failure, of like, I'm not good enough, so I'm going to stop kind of came up as a theme. And I started writing a story of like my dad, which I write about a lot. We get it. You have dad issues. But I remember there was a scene I remember when I wrote kind of in detail of like, he lost a couple of jobs and like the recession, like we had to like live with my grandparents and like in their basement. I was a super young kid, but I remember he got this job in like a plastics factory, which he worked for his whole life. And he was so excited about it. And we like drove him to the train.
Mm-hmm.
And that was I remember being a kid in the car and like watching my dad go to Chicago on this train. It felt like an adventure, and he was like so proud of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this came after like a bunch of like,
Failures.
he couldn't like failures, like he couldn't work on the farm anymore, and he like was really creative with like he would create these like almost Tiffany glass lamps, and he like got laid off from that. So it was like all these failures and this like but maybe there's hope. Now it doesn't
Yeah.
end well, but we all know that. But I didn't get there yet. But
Yeah.
like, and this idea of like failure, which I kind of love this idea, and I don't know what to use with it, but like failure as this word or this idea being made up by the winners to make you frozen, to make you stand still, as opposed to be like, this is just part of the next thing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So I didn't really, I found a couple images and like imagery, but I kind of got a little ethereal with it, which I need to stop doing. I get like very philosophical, and sometimes that's okay, but sometimes
there's
just
nothing wrong with that.
just like write the scene, you know?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's a write-in. So you're playing around with the scene. You're playing around, I mean, you're kind of seeing where you want to go with it, and like just you're playing around with the words and the images and all that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Again, this is like a very first draft. I love the idea. I think a lot about like, what failure means and trying to take the power back from the word. I think I talk a big game where I'm like, failure is part of everything and just get up and fail. But when I really feel like I'm failing, like not doing, like really failing, which means like not necessarily pleasing others, that's where I start to struggle. There's one thing of just like, I'm playing around and maybe this works and maybe this doesn't. But then when I sort of feel like there's like critique involved, or like people are disappointed, or, something doesn't go like the way that, I think with like job loss and stuff like that. But I mean,
like I'm letting people down.
Yeah. Or I'm looking, not like looking the way that I wanted to be seen anymore, or, and that kind of thing. But I think that's where I really start to struggle.
Yeah.
So I get that, like, with like your dad, where, you're like, this is the path that I was on is like no longer there. I failed. Like I can't provide, that kind of stuff. It's difficult.
Yeah. And I think it's a lesson learned. It's like you're writing a story about generational stuff. Like I actually, as a human being, learned a lot from watching how he reacted. And I think that translate really well, especially if you're writing, a novel or a larger piece, or even a short story, if there is that intergenerational connection of, I feel like sometimes if somebody can't make that transformation as a character, what does the next generation do? That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Like how people in like an ensemble shape each other, and because I actually, as in a personal level, can take a lot. I feel like I can take a lot. I can get knocked down, and I can pivot because I saw what happens when you give up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't end well. Like I would rather keep getting up and keep stumbling than stopping and let that eat you alive,
It's just never been, I think I get down, like certainly like I'll get really down, but it's just never occurred to me to stop moving forward, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's just something in the way that I think, where I'm always like, what's next? How do I move this into the next place? Like, I don't know. I think that's just where my mind goes. And maybe I almost sometimes wonder if it's an anxiety thing too, where it's like your brain is like, just do something to feel better.
Yeah.
So I always am like doing the next.
Yeah, it would be interesting. And I want to toss up some word counts up here too, speaking of moving forward, but it would be interesting to write a character the opposite of that, to like really try to get into somebody's head that doesn't use the same survival mechanisms that you do. That would be so hard. That would be so hard.
I know. Just do something.
Just do it. We got some word counts from Alley Cat, 37, and got distracted. That's right.
Distracted all day.
Yeah. 1 page. A longhand everything first. We hear you, Alice. Yeah, same thing. Oh, I also want to give Alley Cat credit. She also ate dinner, so good for her.
Good for you. Priorities.
Yeah. Yes.
I hope it was a good dinner.
I do want to mention, because we talked about, like, you mentioned something about like critiquing self, and I know this is a little off the path, but this book I'm reading now is Looking for Lorraine. I got it from the library. It's Lorraine Hasbury. She wrote Raisin in the Sun, and like her life of like putting out this piece and like having art be out of your control a little bit, and like how people react to it. And her like idea of like when people would critique it, either like in the white community or her own like socialist like Black community, and she would then how she responded was amazing. She would basically teach them how to critique her own play. It's like it was amazing. Anyway, so it's like one way to respond to people trying to like knock you down.
Yeah.
Her response was amazing.
Too, because I've been kind of struggling with this now because, I'm about to kind of put something out there into the world again, and which I kind of haven't done in a while. And, the critiquing like sort of pulls me back, like the fear of it. And I wonder if you can just sort of say, I'm just going to give this out to the world, and whatever they do with it is what they do with it.
Yeah.
Like
I think
if I let it go at that point, because for me, it's like, I'm not focused on what I did, what you're listening to or watching or reading anymore. I'm now focused on what I'm creating now. So I'm going to take it, I'll take it and move it forward, but I'm just not interested in that same way because I'm making the new.
Yeah, I think it's a really good exercise in ego, because I think a part of our ego really wants to please and really wants whatever art we make, whatever writing we make, what other project we make, we want to be seen. Like humans do want to be seen, but when does that overtake the creative impetus to make it or whatever, if that's the correct word. Yeah, that balance is hard. And that's why I love Lorraine's response was just like, you're wrong and let me tell you why.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
People are like, okay.
Yeah, you're like, all right, solid points.
Yeah.
All right.
Strength. All right,
we've got one more 15 minutes on the clock.
Yep. Right.
Let's do it. Ready when you are.
Here comes the prompt. So we have this is writing prompt 3. A group of people gather every month for a secret meeting. Write a scene from the point of view of a new member. I'll say it one more time. A group of people get together every month for a secret meeting. Write a scene from the point of view of a new member.
Secret meetings. I'm already don't trust it.
You know it. Love it. Don't buy the beauty product.
Yeah, Mark, is that right? Okay. Did it,
Yay.
did it.
And I didn't get kicked off, so it was very
Oh,
exciting.
wonderful news. With the new setup,
Yay.
with the new computer I have to keep the Google timer actually opened. If I jump back to the it shrinks down,
Oh
so I
yeah.
can't actually see you. It's very sad indeed. Yes. Oh, look at
That's
this. We've got some
okay.
comments from before the prompt. I love this, Ursula. The world is an unreliable critic. Ethan Hawke. Yeah. Oh,
Yay! We need more Ethan
yeah.
Hawke quotes.
He
That
just
is
put
for
out a great YouTube
sure.
video. Go look for it. All right, that's a great idea, Ursula. We'll do. And then Alley Cat was just talking about barbecue. That was just me and Alley Cat doing some barbecue chats. So 15 minutes. I love that one. I think the 5 minute and the 15 are my faves. What did you find, folks? Pages, number counts. Also, Jed, what did you find in this secret meeting?
I just have to really quick. I give a shout
Oh,
out for the
sorry.
middle child 10 minutes.
Sorry.
Just it's okay.
I guess I like the brain dump, and then I like the
Like what's
time. You're right. You're right.
wrong
You're
with
right.
that with the middle?
They're all
No, I'm just
important.
kidding. Yeah.
Yep.
5 minutes
I stand corrected.
special, the 15 minutes, the cutest. It's fine. Anyway, sorry. I had middle child's,
It's
flashbacks.
fair. It's a fair critique. It's a fair critique.
No, the 15-minute is really fun. I feel like you get to kind of
Mhm.
build on what you've been doing, all evening, which is really nice. So yeah, I jumped back on my story with the mom and the daughter, and so I was like, okay, her mom's going to this weird beauty cult thing. So I just had the daughter go and like follow her and see what was going on. So it was fun. I spent a lot of time with like they gave her like a bag when she walked in. It was like full of like so she had to wear like this sort of pink like apron type thing and gloves and a mask, which obviously where's that coming from? So she has to like put on all this sort of like weird medical attire to get in, and everyone else is dressed like that, so she can't see anybody. She's like, "What is happening here?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
So it was more like a sleuthing. Like obviously the first time she was there, she's. Did you get far into like the details of it, or she's just like entering so far?
Yeah, so it's like a whole bunch of beauty products like laid out. Everyone's like talking really excitedly, and then like the lights go down, everyone starts to clap and like freak out. And then she asks one woman, she's sort of speaking to her, and she's like, she finally asked for her mom by name, and they're like, oh no, she's not here anymore. So that's kind of what, yeah.
Oh,
I know.
nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
they're unveiling something very special that night. So we'll see.
Gotcha. High drama.
So much drama, beauty drama. What about you?
Beauty drama. I want to give a shout out. I wrote so much getting to the secret meeting. I never got there. No
I do
idea
that
what
a
kind it
lot.
was. Alice, yeah, preach. Same deal. I'm always like prepping, and then I'm like, oh, the door is still 10 feet away.
I
Yeah.
love anticipation, like just in life in general, and in my writing too. I like the build.
Yeah, yeah. And we got some word counts. Ursula always cranking out these
Nice.
words, man, cranking them out, which is great. Yeah, I wanted to try to make it like secret meeting because my instinct was to like, like we said before, like don't trust it, So I tried to make mine a little more playful, and I got to this really strange place. It was like very sort of kids based, and a bully was stealing this one kid's pet. They thought he stole his cat. So they were like, this is, what did I end up calling, like, Arnold, this is Destroy Arnold Higgins Club. And like they're trying to like get this bully, in trouble.
Yeah.
And they find out that this and in the writing of this very first draft, they found out that the kid, Arnold Higgins, stole the cat because he couldn't see his grandmother in the retirement home, and she really loved cats, so he was trying to like give it to her, but the receptionist wouldn't let them in. So all these kids were like sleuthing and finding him, and they were there when like he basically said like, get out of here, kid, with your dumb cat. And the kids were just like, Arnold Higgins, So I don't know what happens after that, if maybe Arnold Higgins is back in the club, or I don't know.
They have some empathy for him. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah. I love the idea of kids like putting these clubs together, because I remember doing that as a kid, and you take it so seriously.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah, of like this idea too that like adults don't listen and no one's gonna help us. We gotta do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And having, I like that turn of like the bully kid's not the bully, and
Yeah.
he belongs in the club just like everybody else, you know. I don't know if that's realistic or whatever, but also maybe don't steal people's cats, but you know. Yeah. So I don't know. That's it. I think this was a good one. I like not knowing where it's going. That's my favorite part of this is like, yeah.
Same.
Which Alice also said, it's the journey. And I feel like it's true, man. It's true. So we are at 8:00 right now. I obviously want to give you the last word of like the insights, but also don't forget to tell everybody we're going to be talking about the Story Studio festival because it's coming up in October. So
yeah, I'll leave on that note. If you guys want to go check it out, storystudiochicago.org. And our Writers Festival is on the website. We still have festival passes left. We still do have some editor pitches left as well, and a couple manuscript reviews. So come and join us if you're interested in any sort of facet of the publishing world. That's what we'll be doing in the first weekend of October. It's going to be really fun. It's all online. And yeah, it's going to be good stuff.
Cool. I'll put it in the description box as well. And then let us know. We're going to be back on Monday evening, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah, all month. And let us know, too, maybe in the comments or maybe next week's video, if you guys are doing NaNoWriMo prep. I'm not sure if anybody here is into that, but I know it's starting in November and people are like prepping online already. I saw some of that. So,
cool.
Yeah.
They're like getting ready.
Getting prepped up. Yeah.
That's so fun.
So I'll put that stuff in the description box as well. And thanks everybody for hanging out. We did it. I also wanted to show because I've been collecting all these postcards that Jen has been sending me, but that'll just be a sneaky peek. Maybe I'll show it to you in full vision. What am I trying to say?
At the end of my pack, I think I have one more for you guys.
Oh man, exciting!
I have to figure it out.
Yeah,
I got to keep it going.
Awesome.
I'm working on it.
All right. Well, what a titillating ending. Ew, gross. Never say that again. All right. Bye.